Today, we are diving into the creation of my client Dallas Liu's performance in Netflix's 2024 series Avatar: The Last Airbender. And by the way, this is part one of this creating performance. There are no spoilers here. Avatar: The Last Airbender began as an American animated action television series created by Michael Dante DiMartino and Brian Konietzko, and produced in 2024 by Netflix in a new live-action series. Avatar is set in an Asian and Arctic-inspired world in which some people can telekinetically manipulate one of the four elements: water, earth, fire, or air, through practices known as bending, which is inspired by the Chinese martial arts. My client, Dallas Liu, plays one of the four lead roles, Prince Zuko. Zuko is the primary antagonist in the first season. He is the crown prince of the Fire Nation and a skilled firebender, meaning he has the ability to create and control fire. Zuko is seeking to restore his lost honor because he's been banished from the Fire Nation by his father, Fire Lord Ozai, and told he must capture the Avatar, a spiritually powerful individual who could end the 100-Year War and restore Zuko's honor and his birthright to the Fire Nation's throne. Zuko is accompanied and advised in his search for the Avatar by his uncle Iroh. Are you still with me? It's a complicated but very beloved and entertaining plotline. When Dallas and I sat down to create the performance of Prince Zuko, we initially focused on Zuko's history and background. Because that information contains spoilers that are revealed in episode 6, we will come back in part 2 to illuminate that part of our work. In addition to that history and background, we identified 4 major extreme emotional themes that Zuko experiences. These events are far beyond what a normal young man has familiarity with. The trap of these extremes is if you do not make them real, you can make the mistake of getting caught acting, not something you ever want to get caught doing. At my studio, we exist as the character, we don't act as the character, and there's a big difference. The first extreme emotional theme was banishment. We had to find the emotional connection for Dallas to actually feel what it would be like to be kicked out of his home and away from his family and friends. Well, Dallas had to do imaginary circumstance work on this area, as well as emotional substitutions. Both of these are Stanislavski-based method approaches to emotional connectivity. And by the way, there is more information on the method available in my book, The Actor's Mindset, from Applause Theater and Cinema books, available on Amazon and Goodreads and Audible. The second extreme emotional theme was royal honor. Being born a prince in any nation is a challenging and difficult imposition placed on a young man. Being raised in a royal court and adhering to the pressures of proper etiquette, intellectual fortitude, and emotional reticence are just a few of the areas we had to create connections to. Add to that the fact that Zuko is denied his right to the throne, and you have a banquet of fun to investigate. This was also not exactly how Dallas was raised, so again, we dug deep into the imagination and substitutions. The third extreme emotional theme was becoming a man. Again, this experience was not your regular circumstance. Zuko is a teenager leading a naval battalion, a job that is usually given to a grown man with years of tactical warfare and battle know-how. This is a huge undertaking for a young man coming of age. Luckily, Zuko has his uncle Iroh along to advise him, but ultimately, the responsibilities of decisions made, good or bad, fall squarely on the shoulders of the young prince. Here we had a little more of an inroad. Dallas was in the spotlight a fair bit in his teenage years, working on many TV shows, including the very successful Pen 15 and the Marvel film Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. So he understood a little bit of what it meant to grow up in the spotlight. We used the pressure of professional performance in Hollywood that Dallas has experienced as a young actor as a touchstone to Zuko's coming into his manhood with the pressure of many people watching. Dallas has also done a good amount of training in the martial arts, and he used that discipline and focus to associate into Zuko's similar need to lead with self-restraint and confidence. And finally, the fourth extreme emotional theme was having a superpower. I mean, Zuko is an anti-hero with a superpower. How do we get the then 20-year-old Dallas Liu from the San Gabriel Valley to understand what it's like to have a superpower? Well, we started by asking, what is a superpower? The answer was that it is an extraordinary ability which is greater than what is considered normal. Then we looked at Dallas's life to see where he excelled, and we found it in his sense of humor, his sense of family, his sense of honor, and his natural capacity to train in the martial arts and to be a good actor. Now, none of these are superhuman, but they are gifts that Dallas was born with. So we just focused on those special gifts and intensified the feelings about them to make them feel and become extraordinary. We then focused on fire. Zuko can firebend, so Dallas spent time taking in the reality of fire. The heat, the singe, the smell, the danger, the power. All of this combined to give him the sense that he could indeed have the ability to be a firebender. And also, who hasn't been a superhero in their life? I certainly wore Batman masks and Superman capes in my childhood. I was completely convinced that I could fly. Not even gravity could stop my imagination. Dallas, like all kids, also had that ingrained imaginary experience from his childhood to remember and celebrate. And celebrate he did, every day on the set of Avatar: The Last Airbender, bringing the character of Prince Zuko beautifully, honestly, and truthfully to life. I'm very proud of the work Dallas did on creating this performance. It was a tall order to not get caught in the traps of the original animated series or the other performances of other actors who have played Zuko in the past. Dallas did it his way, from his heart, and I believe he did it right. Avatar: The Last Airbender is now streaming on Netflix. I encourage you to take a break from our normal day-to-day life and escape into a magical, imaginary world full of adventure and danger and a lot of heart. Thanks for joining us on Creating a Performance.